Money Transfer is giving you an unbeatable bonanza from now until the end of October. Yes! From now till the end of October, you stand a chance of winning a bag of rice when you receive monies in the Gambia from UK, Europe, USA, Canada and Switzerland with Supersonic's Money Transfer. Amazing! So from now till the end of October, every time you receive monies in the Gambia from UK, Europe, USA, Canada and Switzerland, you stand a chance of winning a bag of rice. Only
2009 we were in there, we do malaria test. That's where we do malaria test, grouping, cross-matching, all. That's where we did it. And when you bleed donors, that's where we do the cross-matching to see whether the patients are compatible with the blood. It's done at the hematology lab.
Apart from working at the hematology lab, did you work anywhere else?
No. Told to go to the presidential treatment.
Can you tell us how you were selected to go for the presidential treatment?
I was called by the then Minister of Health, Dr. Malik Jai, that Bachili write a letter to the president that she need an assistant.
Who was the then Minister of Health?
Dr. Malik Jai.
And who was Bachili?
Abdullah Bachili was the one collecting sample at the presidential treatment.
Do you know what the presidential alternative treatment was all about by the time they called you and told you that
you're HIV? And then they start the treatment in 2007, but for me, I was there in 2009.
When you received the call from the Minister of Health, did he tell you what your role would be at the presidential alternative treatment?
Yes, sample collection.
You were working at the IBTH then, not so, at the hematology department?
At that time?
Yes.
It was landing fall.
Was he aware of your transfer from the hematology department to the presidential alternative treatment?
Yes, he was told.
And this
telephone call,
was it normal for you to just receive a telephone call and told that you're supposed to report somewhere else without any...
I cannot say no. Going to the presidential treatment, because that's why when they told me to stay there, like the other nurses, I told them no, because I don't have anything to do. If I have sample to collect, I will come and collect it and go back to the Edward Francis, because patients need me there.
We'll deal with that one later. Let's just deal with this other line of questioning. When he called you and told you that you should report to the presidential alternative treatment, did he tell you where to report to?
Yes, he told me that Bachili will come and pick me on Thursday for 4th batch.
Can you tell us what happened when you arrived at Kanilai with Bachili?
Yes, I went with Bachili, and then he took me to the nurse in charge, and then told the nurse in charge that this is my assistant. She's going to assist me in sample collection.
Who was the nurse in charge?
Nima Baje.
And how did you go about collecting sample there?
No, I did not collect any sample there. And then I go with Bachili and sit and watch. That was on Friday. Then the following day, on Saturday, I came back.
Can you tell us what you observed when you were?
Yes, they were doing the treatment, massaging patients, and then giving them medicine in a cup.
How were they massaging these patients?
They were rubbed with, I think it's a shea butter, and then start massaging.
We have received evidence showing patients who were virtually almost naked and being massaged. Was that a picture of what you saw there?
No, the one I saw, they were given a towel and then they wrapped themselves and then.
You and your boss bachelor?
No, we were not at the sitting because we are not part of it. It's the nurses and the president who were doing the massaging.
And when they were massaged, you said they were given something to drink as well?
After, yes.
Did you see what they were drinking?
No, I just saw it because I was sitting far away with them.
What was the demeanor of the patients after drinking the medication? We were told that some of the patients reacted adversely. Some were vomiting and some were weak after taking the medications. Did you see anything like that?
No, on that day I did not see anything like that.
From where you were and from where they were drinking the medication, how far was it?
It's like this hall. We were sitting here.
Are they treating? If you can recall, that is.
I cannot recall, but it's many.
After they received the treatment, what happened?
After they received the treatment, after the president gone, and then we also go back to our various places. No, I was just there to know that I'm going to assist Bacheli.
Supposed to do there?
No, Bacheli told me. Bacheli is the one who told me what to do.
And did Bacheli tell you how you were going to collect the samples from the patients?
Yes.
What did he tell you?
He told me that whenever they are having a new batch, we will be collecting sample also. We will be collecting sample in between when they are called upon to collect sample for the patients also. We'll go.
Prior to you being called to the presidential alternative treatment, did you at any point while working at RBTH deal with HR?
Yes, when I was at the sample collection room, because that room was general. You receive all patients, all kind of patients.
The first time you went to Kanila?
After the patients come to the Serekunda General Hospital.
So tell us about that arrangement. How do you usually carry out your work with respect to the patients?
Like?
How do you carry out your work with respect to the patients, like collecting samples? How do you do it?
Okay. Whenever they need sample collection, they call me and arrange the patient.
Apart from the list,
they write their names, age, and their status.
Did you receive any document confirming the status of the patient?
And when they are giving me the list to collect their samples, they also indicate their status there.
You said some. Was that the case for all of them?
No, the time I collect their samples, some bring along their status. But before I came to collect the samples, they used to take the status form with the in charge, and then they write everything and then give me the list.
Were these new people or the people that were already in documents that clearly
before you enter the treatment?
Come through the treatment and not witnessed?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Some of them, they take it to the office. At least they give me the right.
Sensitive. It from has this disease, and then another person comes in without any document and says that, oh, I gave it to somebody else. Will that be a normal thing?
No.
An abnormal thing for some people. So when you receive the list of the patients, with some, the medical papers attached to it, and others, no medical paper attached to it. What do you do?
I confirm their status.
So you had a test kit that will confirm
Yes.
an individual status before you draw samples?
Yes.
Was this applied to all of them that came to you? Confirm the status of all of them before you drew their samples?
Yes, the first batch I met, I confirm all of them.
That's the first batch you met?
The fourth batch I take.
The fourth batch was the first batch that you met personally?
Yes.
And you drew all their samples? So what happened afterwards?
Afterwards, I take their samples for the amount of virus in their body. Because they said before they give them the medication, they want to know whether their CD4s are high. Because some patients, when the CD4 are low, they will not take them to the treatment. That's what they said.
Has there been?
Yes.
And what was the reasoning behind this?
I don't know. Maybe it's their criteria.
Who was the person that determined the criteria for a patient to be admitted into the program?
It's Dr. Ndow.
What was his role in the treatment?
He was the Director General of the program.
Do with that sample?
I take it to the lab for testing.
Which lab did you take it to?
The peripheral public health lab at Kotu.
Who was in charge of that lab?
Mutlamin Jaju and Alphonse. They are there at that time.
Was this lab in any way? And what kind of test would they conduct on the samples you sent?
CD4.
Only the CD4?
Yes.
You have been working, what kind of tests are usually conducted on persons that have HIV/AIDS? Do you know?
CD4 and viral load.
Can you please give us like a distinction between the CD4 and the viral load?
The viral load is the amount of virus in
for a HIV patient. Which test is more beneficial for an individual to? Sorry?
the antigen antibody test.
The antigen and antibody test. Is that test different from the CD4 count and the viral load?
Yes, it's different. The antigen antibody test is the test they did to know whether you are HIV.
Apart from the CD4, that is when you joined in, did you do any of those tests that you mentioned, the antibody test and the antigen test?
Yes, that is the test to confirm whether the patient knows. The viral load is the test we take to Egypt because that time there is no viral load machine here.
So it's only the CD4 count that is looked into at the lab?
Yeah.
And after they've checked the CD4 count, can you tell us what happened? What your role is from there? When you're recording, sorry, I missed this point, so I need to go back to it. When you are drawing the samples from an individual, how do you determine that a particular number is linked to a particular individual?
Yes, the list they gave me, they number it from 1 to any number. Like if I call number 1, take the sample, I'm going to, on that tube, I'm going to write 101, and then that is the...
Will ensure that there's proper recording system. How do you record these numbers and codes?
They are the one who filed, because after doing the test, I bring the original list and then...
Was there like specific numbers given to each patient?
Yes.
So there was a unique number given to every individual patient, and each was separate from the other.
Yes.
And if you start now, how would you then identify all the patients? Like probably patients that are like a whole lot.
Yes, we take those numbers. If it is 1 to 50, you label the tubes also 1 to 50. You will know that 1 is for this number 1, 2 is for number 2.
That is the trend you follow.
Yes.
What if when the samples come back, how do you now link the samples to those numbers? How do you link the samples to those numbers?
When they come back. Like when they come back.
Yes.
When
you receive it.
Yes.
That was for the first time that you did it.
And you write the batch number.
And you write the batch number. How about the second time that you went to collect samples, the treatment, yes?
Yes, those samples were not many. Maybe those people who are very sick and they want to repeat their CD4. That's the one I took during the treatment.
You mentioned people who were very sick. And can you tell us about these people?
Yes, they are very weak and sick. I came back and then collect their samples again.
And you started with the first batch? Fourth batch, sorry. How many people in the fourth batch did you notice that were very sick at some point during the program?
I can't recall, but sometimes they used to call the 4 count again.
Was it call you to say that this person is really sick and you back and check?
It's not often. It's time until the discharge time.
Apart from collecting the sample when they start, you also collect the sample. What other times do you usually collect samples?
When they are discharging.
For the fourth batch, what was the time frame within which you went back again, 6 months of treatment? That was when you went back to collect their samples.
That one was for CD4 to be done here, but the viral load to Egypt.
Okay. Now let's talk about within that 6 months, you went to collect their samples. And you said when people are sick, you usually... Yes.
No, I can't remember.
So tell us, when you go to collect the samples at the point that they are discharged, tell us how you do it.
For the discharge?
Yes.
Yes. I just collect the 2 different samples. One for CD4 here, and then the other one to Egypt for the viral load.
You just go there and then you draw blood from the same people that
they give me list again.
This time around they give you a list.
Yes.
And can you recall how many people you attended to the first time?
The fourth
batch, yes.
That one is up to 60 something.
When you went back,
60 something patients.
About 60 something patients. You remember the filing system where you have the name of the person and a number attached to it. Now, when you went back for their discharge, did you use the same record or make reference to that old record?
Now, because that one also we take for viral load.
Let's look at the normal thing that happens at the hospital. When you receive a patient, especially a HIV patient,
yes,
what do?
You check the file.
You check the file, not so. This time around, you told us that you do not make reference to the old record. Instead, a new one is made. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So how certain are you that it's the same sample?
They added is the...
I know know that you said the only thing they added is the viral load. That
Yes.
means an extra test is being done.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about the extra test.
Yes, it's almost the same list.
Yes.
The only thing they added, because that one, the first one, yes.
Because when you go to, like I explained earlier, when you go to a hospital and you're sick, they make reference to the old record that you have with them before they attend to you. And you as a lab technician, you know that you cannot just have fresh documents for a patient who has a history with you. You have to go back to the old records in order to merge them together and go with the flow. But then if you have a new
The viral load, but it's the same list,
So-
same people.
that is what I'm talking about. You know, you have a history. Do you look at the old history?
When I'm taking the
Yes. Do you?
for the discharge.
Yes. Do you look at the old history?
No.
So you, after 6 months, you have no knowledge of what happened to the patients for the past 6 months, correct?
No.
And then you're given another there and then. Do you do that?
No. When
You
you
don't-
discharge it.
Yes.
No.
Do you check the status of the individual there when you're taking the samples for the discharge?
No.
So you have no idea whether the patient you're checking even has HIV or not?
No, that list, the first, their status are there.
Basically saying
The
this.
list, their status are there.
Yes, we're basically saying,
HIV1 or HIV2.
yeah, we're basically saying the same thing, but we're not understanding each other here.
Okay.
Let me explain again. You have an old list and you have an old record. The old record has the person's status and has the person's CD4 count when they start. Not so.
Yes.
And then when
No, the status is not there.
the status is not there, the person's previous CD4 count, is it there?
No.
It's not there. So you're just given a list and a number of people that you have to draw samples from, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Because that one is the one we take for viral load. What we need there is only the status, whether it's HIV1 and 2. We don't need this CD4 counts results there.
So you don't look at the history again?
The last history.
Yes, the previous one, you don't look back to draw blood?
No, because the records is with them, the secretary or the nurse in charge.
And you don't even know, do you even know whether they are the same people, exactly the same people that you collected the samples from the previous time?
Yes, it's the same people.
How sure are you that it's the same people? You are dealing with about 60-something people, right?
Yes.
Another list of individuals. How do you know that you're dealing with exactly the same people that you
Because it's
handled before?
the same list they gave me before. The only thing they add is the viral load. That's why I said it's all the patients. It's all of them. 60-something patients act on the form.
You're talking about the form itself and the changes made on the form. I'm talking about the individuals themselves. Like, let's say, for example, I meet new people for the first time,
Yeah.
67 of them, and I collected their samples. If I come back again in 6 months, I can only remember a few. I cannot remember
Yes.
each individual 6 months ago.
It's true. Yeah.
So that is why I asked, how sure are you that it's the same individuals that you drew blood from 6 months ago that you are drawing blood from 6 months after?
Because they gave me the list and tell me that it's the patients they admitted, and I met them there admitted.
So you just go by what they said to you?
Yes.
That these are the same patients that you drew blood from?
Yes.
And these are the same patients that are here?
Yes.
That we are requesting that you draw blood from them?
From them, yes.
Okay. You have that kind of space for that?
No, maybe the ones I know before, but the rest I don't have.
So
therapy.
you're not like totally from the patients?
No.
Okay. So let's move ahead. Tell us about that.
Yeah, because Bachili went there for the first time. When I was called by Dr. Bowen, said whether you have passport? I said yes. Say the deputy chief of protocol will come and pick it from you to Dakar for visa, because you're supposed to go to Egypt to take the samples. I say okay. They took the passport, and then later on, after 2 weeks, I was on night duties. I said okay. He said now on Friday evening, go to the hospital and then collect the samples for the patients. Then Saturday morning we'll leave.
How did you collect the samples? Was it the same normal thing that you usually do?
The only difference is you have to separate this one from the red cells to the plasma. You take the plasma to Egypt, you leave the red cell, because if we are transporting blood, you separate it and then put it in a separate tube.
Added to the test, would you detect it?
No.
So you would not be able to detect whether there's an addition or not?
I don't know all of them.
The system that you described, you mentioned that you usually do like Adamify. To do another Adamify, number 1, lay number 3. So there are no unique numbers assigned to any specific patients, correct?
No.
Okay. So let's move to your trip to Egypt. You collected samples from the patients. Your passport, any form of formal arrangements made with any lab in Egypt, perhaps?
No.
Did you have...
I think Bacheli talked to the deputy chief of protocol, or they talked to the team, because me knowing the lab. After all, protocol try to trace Bacheli's number and then call Bacheli. And then Bacheli explained to him where the lab is, and then we'll move.
So it was only Bacheli that knew where the lab, the presidential alternative treatment, didn't they know?
I know, because it's only Bacheli who was taking samples. He went to Morocco, Senegal, and then Egypt.
How about, let's say, the head of the treatment? Did he know?
No, because that time Bacheli was the only one going. For me, I went.
Took the samples?
No, I don't know.
Do you even know if the lab knew exactly why those samples were being taken there?
No, they did not tell me anything there. We are referred here by Abdullah Bacheli. They say yes, they know Abdullah.
Taken there? Was it done in the name of?
Not from arbitrage.
The lab was?
Yes.
You said the first day you did not know where the lab was, and the person that traveled with you?
Yes, called Bacheli.
And who was this person, Jibat, that traveled with you?
Yes.
Who was he?
Deputy chief of protocol.
The deputy chief of protocol?
Yes.
When carrying medical samples,
arrangements should be made within the lab and the samples, where the samples are from, in a normal circumstance. But I don't know which arrangement they made. And it's Jiba who told me that we are going. Maybe they make arrangement with, but I don't know. But
did you carry any documents with you when you were going there?
It's only the list of names, list of patients we took.
Request, a formal request for the lab to do a particular test?
No, for that lab, any samples you have, they can do it as far as you because you pay for each sample.
You paid for the samples?
Yes.
Can you recall who made the payments for the samples?
They give the sample is $65.
Each sample was $65?
Yes.
And Jiba was the one that usually carried the money?
Yeah.
And
arrange them for them, and then we go back to the hotel. When they through with the results, they call us, we go and do the payment, and then they gave us the results.
Did the lab ask you any questions as to the there?
For me, Yesterday they asked me whether these people are doing treatment.
And they asked about that.
Me, yes.
They were not curious as to why you were there.
Maybe they asked Jiva, but for me, that's the only question they asked me.
So how many days did you spend in Egypt?
We spent 2 weeks there.
2 weeks waiting for the samples?
For waiting for the results, yes.
The same?
The same number.
So it was the same Fatunyang number 1?
We give them the list.
You gave them the list of the names of people?
Yes, because when they are through with the test, they have to leave the form with them.
So they gave you the list and then you came back?
Yes.
Okay, what happened when you came back?
After the results ready, they will call us and then we go and pay and receive the results.
And you bring them back?
Yes.
Who do you usually hand over the test results to? Ndow will actually read these test results. And some test results will say the CD4 count is, they will mention like, the viral load, they will mention millions of copies.
Yes.
Then after they will say this person is undetectable.
Yes, we have some undetectable, but it will not be more than 15. More than 15 patients.
When you take the sample of a person that does not have HIV, and you check the viral load, what will it tell you?
Undetectable.
When you take the CD4 count, so it's like at first you told us that you're not even sure whether the person that they gave you the test, you're not sure whether the person has AIDS or not. So you're undetectable, correct?
For the viral load, yes.
Now, in an instance where they're actually checking for the antibodies, when you take a person that does not have HIV to a lab, what will the results be?
Negative.
Negative. That is a definitive negative, not so?
Yeah. Yes.
Antibody will tell you?
Negative.
Negative. Correct? Okay. Now I'm beginning to understand these things. Do you know why they did not check for the viral load during this treatment?
No, there is no machine for viral load here.
But was there a machine for
where doing?
Sorry, my medical science knowledge is limited. It's limited to what I've read.
We see before count here.
Yes.
But the viral load, we take it to Egypt because there was no viral load machine here.
Okay. The one that will say, can you tell us why they did not check for that?
Here.
In Egypt, when you went to Egypt?
No, because we have it here.
Can you tell us why they did not do that test here in the Gambia here for the patients?
We did all here.
For the discharged patients?
Yes.
Why didn't they do that for them?
Because when you are positive, you always positive. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to do that test again.
What was the purpose of the presidential alternative treatment?
To treat HIV.
Was it to treat or to cure?
To cure, yes, to cure HIV.
Now, if you're saying that a particular treatment that have undergone such a treatment, which would have been a definitive conclusion to that person's status.
To see that patient is negative.
Yes.
No, that I don't know. I don't have any idea on it because HIV is curable. Is curable.
Yes, but what if it was like curable? What if like for say there is this treatment for HIV that can cure someone because that is what. Which would have been the most suitable test to do for the
antibody test?
Antigen and antibody test. Yes. And the antigen and antibody test, was it ever carried out on patients that were being discharged?
No. Because if you do that test,
because the treatment was a host, it was not working.
But anyway, if you test it again, they will still positive.
So
maybe the viral load can be undetectable also, but for the antigen antibody test, if you do it again, still now it will be positive.
And the antigen and antibody test was not done because they knew that the patients were not cured.
Yes.
How many trips did you take to Egypt? To
5.
5. That's a whole lot. 5 trips.
Yes.
How many undetectables during that 5 trips?
Each trip, I told you, each trip maybe you will not have more than 15 undetectable.
And in all those test results that showed undetectable, and for certain, they did not even, you cannot even tell which individuals test HIV. If you do not check their history and you don't have any baseline information when you draw blood for the purpose of them being discharged,
yes,
how would you know that they actually have HIV?
Because the list they gave me to collect the viral load, their status are indicated there.
It's only the list that the statement has AIDS or not.
No.
Okay, then I think this will be a convenient place to stop. It's time for the tea break now, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I guess we are involved in all this. It's time torture for me, but I guess we'll have to continue. But thank you very much, Ms. Ndow. We'll take a coffee break, 30 minutes, and then come back at 12 noon. Let's make it 40 minutes. Thank you. Meeting's adjourned.
Hurry now and be part of the 100 lucky winners in this special unbeatable bonanza from now until the end of October with Supersonic's money transfer. Enjoy our safe, fast, reliable and convenient money transfer service with the largest payout network in the Gambia with charges starting from $0. Yes! Visit the Google Play Store or the Apple Store today with Supersonics.
Gamsobis in focus with Kalilu Banjang every Saturday from 8 to 10 p.m.
You want to know about the Gambia entertainment industry? You want to know the existing policies and programs of the arts and culture sector. You want to know about the governance and management of the arts associations. The program will throw a fresh light on the entertainment industry in focus. We will talk them and most importantly offer solutions.